One thing that we learned, and I'll use this as a preface to it for other parents, is the kids are capable of making their own decisions. And if they're going to go to a European school, they're going to be treated as adults. So starting them off here and treating them as adults in that process and holding them accountable, like for instance, if they file on their things on time, they get their transcripts in, their letters of recommendation, if there's a scholarship, they can get the form in on time. This is all their responsibility, which prepares them to go, in this case, to UCD, because they are treated like adults.
They do have a lot of support, but it is very true what Alan said, that they are treated as adults and they do have to live up to that, but they can. I mean, take the time and prepare them with the how-to skills of caring for their, do the laundry, do the cooking, do the shopping, sit down and work out how to make their money go far enough for their food and things like that when they're grocery shopping. But just see if it's the right program. If it's the right program, it's the right place.
So UCD in their guidebook provided, what you needed to do in the International Student Handbook. They also provide about a month or a month and a half before you go is a letter of acceptance, which is dated and signed so that meets the immigration requirements. So everything is available to you. And and we did pretty religiously try to follow the checklist in the International Student Handbook, and that made the process that much easier. You still wondered when you put them on the plane in Chicago if they'd actually come out the other end in Ireland, and if they would be put back on the plane and sent back. But by following the procedure that has been time tested and asking questions, it makes it a lot less stressful.
We took an extra week, so we kind of essentially dropped them off, and then we took off for like several days and went to Galway and we stayed in the country but left Dublin so that they could start on their own and so that we could not be fussing and worrying. And then when we came back to Dublin, we had dinner with them once or twice, I think, and then ended up having to leave them there.
We also took them on a bit of a shopping spree around, to facilitate, so they had an easy startup, so that when we walked out the door, they didn't go, I don't have this. At least they had the basics.
Well, and we stayed because you never know once they got into the swing of things. Was there a piece of paper that they needed? Was there a signature they needed? Then we could, provide that before we headed home.
Yeah. We did Skype regularly. We, of course, with the texting, they could text if they needed anything. I think probably the issue that was always at the back of our mind is what would happen if the child got sick, and how would you handle that? Well, in the student guidebook again, they explain about an insurance company in Ireland that provides student coverage, and then there's student health on the campus. And that turned out that was adequate and fine. But when you hear a kid coughing or they're saying I've got an earache or whatever, and you're talking on Skype, you go, oh, well, what am I going to do about it? Well, there's a structure there to take care of it. So I would say read your student handbook. Don't leave it to the student to read it, because I think it'll settle in your mind many of the issues. Yeah, it may not answer everything under the sun, but email the folks, and within a day somebody will get back with you with the answer. So,
well, we had a regular Skype call every week, and I think we probably had more conversation and better conversation with our kids, especially that first year, than most people do with a kid going to school in the same state, because you just wouldn't do that if they were 100 miles away. You just wait and they'd come home every so often. So.
But when the student arrives there is a network immediately set up. We visited the student welcome tents. We went around with the appropriate groups, and everything was pretty well laid out. It took all the anxiety away from it. So there is, if you can't make that trip to Ireland, there is a network that when they get there, they're greeted, they're met, and they can get into their dorm and get set up. So it worked very well. Yeah, I've been around universities for years in my career, and I would say that UCD does it as well as in the best schools.